Hello, good morning or good afternoon, and welcome back. So I have a different, or I don't know if this looks any different, but I have a little bit of a different angle today. And yeah, so I was kind of going through some different things because I was kind of feeling a little bit down after church. I don't know, I'm having some mood swings. I'm on my period. Don't mind me. I'm like, whenever this happens, I'm like, just don't mind me. I'm like, I'll have a mood swing and I'll be back to normal in about 20-30 minutes, give or take. We'll see how it goes. But so yeah, I went to church today, and then we went out for breakfast, did all that, and now I'm here. And I do want to do some cleaning today. I want to do some cleaning, and I want to do maybe cooking. Maybe I might say that for tomorrow. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm sitting here and I'm doing this memory verse. I want to read 2 verses because the first verse sparked the original first verse, which I wasn't even going to go over, but now I'm going to go over it because I think it's important. Okay, sorry. I am like so the first verse is Nehemiah 9:7. So I was just having like a little bit of a rough time, just mentally, like just not doing very well, which is, I don't want to say that's normal, but it's normal in a way, around this time at least. Not all the time, but just around this time, so I started reading. I have this book. It's called Experiencing God, and it is a devotional, and I got it from my therapist. She's a Christian counselor therapist. I don't know the difference between a counselor and a therapist. Is there a difference? That is a question mark. I have no clue. It's like there's a difference between a cook and a chef, right? Like my friend was like, she didn't like when people called her a cook, right? So it's like, is there a difference in the title? That's my question. I don't know. So counselor / therapist. That's what I'll leave it at, okay? Even though I don't mean any disrespect when I say that. I just genuinely don't know the difference, or if there even is a difference. So I was kind of talking about, how it's a little bit difficult when, like placing, I've talked about this before, where, when you place man's character on God's character, and different things that you've experienced in your life can really taint your view on God, and how important it is to remind ourselves of God's true character and who he truly is. So I was going through these things again in the back of this book. Like I said, it's called Experiencing God, and I was going through the back. They have, it's titled The Names, Titles, and Descriptions of Gods. They have for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And under Father, the second one was the one that really hit me, and I don't think it really hit me the way that it needed to hit me when I went over this the first time. And I just felt like I really needed to read it, and then I felt like I needed to read Psalm 139 just as a reminder. I don't want to make this video too long. So I'm gonna try and make it quick. Not that I don't want to rush through this, but sometimes I can talk, and I just really want to, get I really want to get the meat and the potatoes, which is the verses. So this is Nehemiah verse 9. So in the book it says, just to read verse 17. Girl, I was reading past 17. The whole rest of the thing is good. Well, not the whole rest of the thing, but the whole rest of the section that it's in. And it says that they refused to listen and did not remember the miracles you had done for them. Instead, they rebelled and appointed a leader to take them back to their slavery in Egypt. But you are a God of forgiveness, gracious and merciful, slow to become angry, and full of unfailing love and mercy. You did not abandon them, even though they made an idol shaped like a calf and said, this is your God who brought you out of Egypt. They sinned and committed terrible blasphemies. But in your great mercy, you did not abandon them to die in the wilderness. The pillar of cloud still led them forward by day, and the pillar of fire showed them the way through the night. You sent your good spirit to instruct them, and you did not stop giving them bread from heaven or water for their thirst. For 40 years you sustained them in the wilderness. They lacked nothing, and all that time their clothes did not wear out and their feet did not swell. So this is titled A Forgiving God. Not that that section of the Bible verses, but it's titled, in the Experiencing God book, that's one of the titles, is He is a forgiving God. And it just reminded me of how hard it is for me to kind of accept God's love sometimes, because I was even thinking about this, and now I'm going off on a rabbit trail, but I was even thinking about this, I definitely have a hard time receiving God's forgiveness, and because I'm in my mind I have to do something. So I was even thinking about how the Catholics, they're oh, go do 10 Hail Marys and go do this. And for me, it would be easier for me to be okay, let me do this to make it up to you, when I do something, or if I think something or whatever, as some way to kind of burn off my sin, I guess. And then, all right, then I feel at peace. Okay, now I can kind of go about. Okay, I have to write down I am sorry multiple times, because I don't know, I think that's also a human logic too, because when we're, when you get in trouble, let's just say you get in trouble with your parents, and you have to go through a grounded period, you're grounded, right? So let's just say you have no phone for a week or whatever. I don't know if your school or your parents, I don't know, I went to a really strict school. I feel somebody definitely made me write down I will not do this, I don't know, 30 or 40 times. I don't know, I feel I've done that before. With my parents, I don't know. Anyways, let's not get into that. Okay, but I don't know, I feel I don't know, but there was something that you had to do, right? And then after that it was okay, now you can go, even if it's for school, oh, you have to do 10 minutes of detention, or you did something bad, so you get 10-15 minutes off of your recess. All right, now you've done your dues, you did your time, now you get to go, you know what I mean? So I kind of feel that way with God, where it's just receiving his love, or receiving his forgiveness, or receiving his grace, and getting undeserved gift is a really hard thing for me to accept and to come to terms with, because I'm used to a conditional love. I'm not used to unconditional love. So it's very hard for me to grasp that. But the parts it says, but you are a God of forgiveness, gracious and merciful, slow to become angry, and full of unfailing love and mercy. And you did not abandon them, even though they made an idol, which God obviously, does not like, warns against, and tells us to not have any other gods. But even though they made an idol shaped like a calf and said, "This is your God who brought you out of Egypt," they sinned and committed terrible blasphemies, but in your great mercy, you did not abandon them to die in the wilderness. And to me, like, what type of, like, love is that? And it just further differentiates how God is and humans are. Does that make sense? Like, in our own human nature, in our own human minds, it's very easy for us to cut people off. It's very easy for us to be like, oh, they wronged me, they did this to me, so bye like, or it's whatever, you fill in the blank, whatever it is for you, just to and I'm not saying that, like, I'm not encouraging people to stay in abusive relationships, or don't mishear what I'm trying to say, but when someone wrongs us, it's like it can be our first instinct for us to do, to like get back at them, or to not help them. Like, if they needed help, see ya, like, oh, you're on the side of the road, you're begging now, sorry, it's, I don't know, I don't know, but it just differentiates, like, humans from God, even though it's still so hard for me to really truly, like, grasp God's love for me. It's like there's an obvious, clear difference that God did not abandon them. God did not leave them. He is a forgiving God. He is gracious. He is merciful. He is slow to anger and full of unfailing love and mercy. And then that kind of just brought me to Psalm 139, where I was talking about the verses. So I was memorizing, I don't know if I mentioned this already in this, but I am memorizing 139. I think I have until like verse 14 memorized. There's 24. But the part that, gets me is verse 7, 139 verse 7, where it says, "I can never escape from your spirit. I can never get away from your presence. If I go up to heaven, you are there. If I go down to the place of the dead, you are there. If I ride the wings of the morning, if I dwell in the furthest oceans, by the furthest oceans, even there your hand shall guide me, and your strength shall support me. I could ask the darkness to hide me, and the light around me become night. But even the darkness cannot, even in darkness, I cannot hide from you. To you, the night shines as bright as the day. Darkness and light are both alike to you." And again, just reminding me of his presence, because how we can get in those feelings of like, God's not here, God's not with me, God has abandoned me. you know, he doesn't see me, he doesn't acknowledge me, he doesn't hear me, like all these different things. And these verses show that that is a clear lie, that we can never escape from God's presence. We can never. If we ascend to heaven, we are there. If we make our bed in Sheol, he is there. If we ask the darkness around us to become night, even there. Hold on. I haven't memorized some parts. But even there, like, we cannot hide from him. You know, the darkness is as light with him. So, I don't know. That kind of brought me out of a little bit of like a period funk. And just that reminder of, like, we literally cannot escape from his presence. There's something, I think for a little bit, that wasn't a comforting feeling for me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can never get away. Like, even the good and the bad, like, you know. But, you know, as I've grown, it's something that it's extremely comforting to know that human beings will come and go. You know, friends will come and go, family members will come and go, whether that's you fall apart, you know, you guys grow apart, or people end up passing away, you know. But you're like, God's presence is forever with you, even in death, you know, in life and death. Like, he will not abandon us. And we see how in, you know, back in Nehemiah, that he did not abandon, you know, the Israelites, even though they did all of those things. He still was loving, slow to anger, merciful, forgiving, still provided for them, and he did not abandon them, you know. So I think that's just such an important reminder for myself, and I hope for other people too, to just remind ourselves of, you know, this is our God. And I don't know, it's just something that's so comforting for me, because just because of just times that I've been in, you know, the quote unquote, I'm gonna say times, I hate the word seasons, but the times in my life where, you know, you have those lows, you have those hot ups and downs in your life, and you are surrounded by friends, and then the next time in your life you're not, and then the next time in your life you know, you meet new people, then the next time in your life maybe those people are gone, or maybe you lose people in your life, you know. But there's one thing that, you know, remains a constant, whether we acknowledge it or not. It is God, you know. And that's something that I believe that every one of us needs in our lives, whether we realize it or not. You know, we need that constant. I think that we are all searching for, or most of us are searching for, that constant. And God does not change like shifting shadows, you know. He is consistently himself at all times. And how comforting is that, to know that it's not just like, oh, he just switches up on you. He's not like a bipolar God. He remains the same yesterday, today, and for forever. And not only that, but there's nowhere that you can go. What is it? The verse that, like, oh my gosh, Jesus says it in the Gospels, where he's like, that the Father gives them to me, and nothing can pluck them, or like nothing can pluck them from his hand or from my hand, or something like that. Like, we cannot be plucked. Like, we are his for life. So that's basically what I was trying to say. I hope that this made some type of sense. But yeah, I'm gonna go home so that I can clean my house and rest for a little bit and enjoy the rest of my day. But until next time, adios.